A premier 5-star resort spa is supposed to represent the absolute peak of relaxation, tranquility, and universal hospitality, a sanctuary where guests from all over the world step away from their chaotic lives, expecting to be greeted with warmth and profound professional courtesy. But for one senior spa manager, hospitality was never given to everyone who stepped through the entrance. It was a privilege strictly reserved for individuals who looked like they stepped out of a luxury magazine before they had uttered a single word. A young woman wearing dark green denim work overalls over a plain t-shirt, and sturdy, dirt-stained gardening boots walked into the pristine reception lobby of the city's most exclusive oceanfront spa. She had spent her morning working in her family's botanical gardens and walked quietly up to the check-in desk to claim her prepaid afternoon relaxation package. The spa manager glanced at her casual work clothes, let out a loud, mocking sniff, and informed her that the VIP treatments were strictly reserved for international high-tier guests and members. He then motioned toward a noisy public bathhouse down the road, suggesting she find a treatment that better suited her appearance over there. What he didn't know was that the woman he had just casually insulted had signed the final corporate acquisition contracts less than 2 hours earlier, making her the sole owner of the spa, the entire oceanfront resort, and the global hospitality franchise that owned the property. Before we get into the full story, comment down below where you are watching from today, and subscribe to Silent Empires so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get into it. The Serenity Springs Spa had stood as the crown jewel of the city's coastal tourism for nearly 20 years. Famous for its imported thermal muds, ancient massage techniques, and private glass villas overlooking the ocean, it boasted an exclusive celebrity clientele and a waiting list 3 months long. For the past 7 years, spa operations were directed by a man named Julian Mercer. Julian considered himself the ultimate gatekeeper of the spa's prestige. He frequently boasted to his front desk staff that the spa's luxury image wasn't just built on their world-class treatments, but on the visual quality of the guests standing near the relaxation pools. In Julian's mind, true wealth always arrived driving imported luxury sports cars, dressed in expensive designer casual wear, and smelling of rare perfumes. Anyone who stepped through the glass doors wearing simple, functional clothes was, in Julian's eyes, a tourist, someone taking up space and distracting his staff from serving the real elite. What Julian failed to realize was that real, immense wealth in the modern era rarely feels the need to put on a dress show for resort managers. And nobody embodied that quiet reality better than Elena Rostova. Elena was 34 years old, the managing director of a massive global asset trust that oversaw agricultural technology, sustainable land development, and historical property preservation. Elena loved getting her hands dirty, spending her mornings working on her private research botanical farm, developing new organic plant-based textiles. Despite holding controlling stakes in major international projects, Elena lived with understated humility. She preferred practical clothing, drove a reliable utility vehicle, and never bothered with loud designer branding. To anyone who didn't know her name, she looked like an ordinary landscape worker. At 3:30 p.m. on a humid Tuesday afternoon, Elena walked quietly through the marble and stone lobby of Serenity Springs Spa. She held a cloth bag with a change of clothes under her arm. Her dark green overalls had faint traces of clean soil on the shoulder straps, her hair was pulled back into a simple clip, and her sturdy boots resting on the pristine floor had clearly seen an active morning. She walked up to the private VIP check-in desk, patiently waiting for the manager to finish reviewing a staff schedule. Julian Mercer adjusted his silk tie and smoothed his charcoal blazer, finally looking up with an immediate expression of deep disapproval. "May I help you find the public access exit?" Miss Julian asked, his voice dripping with icy condescension. "The staff entrance is around the side of the building. Deliveries are not accepted at the main desk." Elena offered a polite, calm smile. Good afternoon. I'm not staff or a delivery. I have a 3:30 reservation under Elena Rostova for the Ocean View relaxation package. Julian let out a loud, mocking sniff, a practiced sound meant to convey mild disgust. The Ocean View package, miss. I don't think you realize what you're asking for. That is our premier $1,200 treatment, held exclusively for our primary membership holders. It requires an active reservation profile and an established account. I am well aware of the price and the requirements, Elena replied evenly. And I have a reservation confirmed. Julian's fake smile vanished completely, replaced by a stern, patronizing glare. Look, let's not waste each other's time. Look around you. Our guests come here for an elite, dignified atmosphere. They expect privacy and luxury. We do not permit local visitors in muddy work clothes to hang around our relaxation lobby. It ruins the environment for our international clientele. He pointed toward a public ocean bathhouse a mile down the coastline. I am sure you can find a lovely treatment down there. If you don't step out of this lobby in 60 seconds, I will be forced to have building security escort you off the premises. Elena didn't move an inch. Her dark eyes remained fixed on Julian with absolute calm. You haven't typed my name into your computer. You haven't checked my identity, you've simply decided based on my overalls that I do not belong in this spa. I judge by presentation, Julian snapped, leaning over the counter. And yours is entirely out of place. Before Julian could call his security team, the heavy mahogany doors of the manager's corridor opened. The resort general manager, David Vance, stepped out accompanied by two executive directors carrying thick leather signing folders. David looked frantic, his eyes sweeping the room until he spotted Elena standing calmly at the check-in desk in her green overalls. David ignored the staff, brushed past the waiting VIP guests, and hurried across the marble floor with visible anxiety. Miss Rostova! David exclaimed loudly, bowing respectfully as he approached. My deepest, most sincere apologies. Traffic near the commercial harbor was absolute gridlock, and our legal team was finalizing the property title deeds downstairs. I hope Julian has been taking excellent care of you while you waited. Julian stood frozen behind the desk, his jaw dropped slightly as confusion washed over his face. David. Chairman David, what is going on? This local woman was trespassing in the VIP check-in area without a dress code clearance badge. Julian, be quiet right now. David roared, causing the entire spa lobby to drop into stunned silence. Sir, Julian stammered, his confident posture collapsing instantly. I was simply enforcing our long-standing guest presentation guidelines for visitors who do not meet our membership standards. She is the membership standard, Julian. David shouted, his voice echoing across the high-ceilinged room, drawing the attention of seated guests and security. Miss Elena Rostova is the managing trustee of the Vance Agricultural Trust. As of 2 o'clock this afternoon, her firm completed the full multi-million-dollar buyout of the entire resort group, including every asset in this spa. She is our new owner. The entire spa lobby fell into complete, terrifying silence. Julian felt his knees go weak. The color drained from his face until he looked as white as the marble counter beneath his hands. He looked from David to the official buyout documents in the leather folder, and then back to Elena sitting calmly at the desk in her gardening overalls. She owns the resort group. Julian whispered, his voice reduced to a high-pitched squeak. Miss Rostova requested an unannounced walkthrough today, David added coldly, looking at Julian with intense disappointment. She wanted to see how local visitors were greeted when they arrived without an entourage or luxury brand labels. Elena stood up slowly, picking up her cloth bag. She looked at Julian with cold, sharp detachment. In less than 3 minutes, Mr. Mercer, Elena said softly, you threatened me with security, mocked my profession, and tried to eject me from a spa I now own. You didn't show a second of basic professional courtesy, you simply assumed that work clothes meant a lack of power. Julian's hands shook uncontrollably against the marble counter. Miss Rostova, please. I had no idea who you were. If I had known your position, I would have had the entire private executive floor prepared for your arrival. And that, Elena said calmly, is the exact problem with your management style. Hospitality isn't a reward for high net worth. It is supposed to be the bare minimum for every human being. That afternoon, Julian Mercer was officially removed from his position, with his executive privileges terminated immediately across all regional affiliate resorts. Elena instructed David Vance to restructure all spa protocols, opening up community wellness programs and removing the exclusionary rules that had fostered years of arrogance. Never judge a person's stature by the dirt on their boots or the simple clothes they wear. You never know if the person in the gardening overalls is the one who owns the entire empire. If you enjoyed this story, hit the like button and subscribe to Silent Empire for more stories of quiet strength, sudden turns, and ultimate accountability. See you in the next one.